So imagine, like, a company where the CEO gets fired.
Right, totally ousted.
Yeah. The board legally removes him, his access badge is deactivated, and he is literally escorted out of the building.
Mm.
But somehow he keeps sending these, incredibly intimidating emails to the staff.
And he's trying to trick them into following his orders from afar, right? Which is wild because functionally, I mean, if the employees actually believe those emails and follow the instructions, he's kind of still managing the company.
Exactly. Even though on paper, his jurisdictional power is completely zero. And that dynamic, that ousted leader relying entirely on a bluff, that's basically the central theology we are breaking down for you today.
Yeah, we're looking at a June 5th excerpt from the Rhapsody of Reality's daily devotional by Pastor Chris. It's titled A Defeated Kingdom. And our mission here is really just to unpack the mechanics of this argument.
Right, because it offers this highly specific framework for how authority operates. The text sets up this premise where the forces of darkness have been, like, legally and entirely stripped of their power.
Yeah, and it approaches this not as a metaphor, but as a structural reality.
So if this entity has been entirely stripped of its power, how does the text explain the actual mechanics of that defeat?
Well, the author points to a foundational concept from the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 27. It uses this metaphor of strongman.
The strong man, okay.
Yeah, Jesus explains that you basically can't go into a strong man's house and plunder his goods without binding him first. And the author identifies this strong man as Satan.
Oh, I see. So the text treats this kingdom of darkness as, like, a coordinated hierarchy.
Exactly. Binding the strong man represents Jesus systematically dismantling that hierarchy. It's about legally stripping the head of the organization of his, jurisdictional rights over the earth.
Okay, wait, I need to push back on that a little bit, because here is where the logic gets a bit tangled for me.
Sure, go ahead.
The text also references Colossians chapter 2, verse 15, right? Stating that Jesus decisively disarmed these principalities and made a public spectacle of them.
Right, a public spectacle.
Yeah, so if this disarmament was public, decisive, and absolute, why are people still experiencing so much chaos? Like, why are they still getting those intimidating emails from the ousted CEO?
That is the big question. And the author addresses that gap by drawing a really sharp line between legal authority and the illusion of power.
The illusion of power.
Right. The text argues that the structural legal authority is genuinely gone, so what this ousted entity relies on now is basically a shadow campaign.
Oh, wow. So it uses, what, deception and manipulation?
Exactly. Deception, intimidation. It's all about getting human beings to voluntarily hand over their own power.
So, like, the mechanics of this enemy's current operation rely entirely on human consent. The entity can only operate if the individual buys into the illusion and actually gets scared.
Yeah, I mean, the text states that the enemy uses the exact same historical strategies of fear, but without any backing of real authority. It is purely psychological warfare now.
That makes me wonder about the vacuum of power left behind, though. If the strong man is bound and his authority is legally revoked, where does the text say that authority actually went?
Well, it was transferred, right. The devotional points to Matthew chapter 10, verse 8, and Mark chapter 16, verse 17.
Which say what, exactly?
They quote Jesus telling his followers, "In my name shall they cast out devils." So the mechanism described here is essentially deputization.
Oh, I get it. The authority used to bind the strong man didn't just vanish into the ether, it was passed directly to the church.
Exactly.
It makes me think of an Olympic runner. According to this framework, believers aren't on the track sweating and panting, fighting to cross the finish line to win the gold medal.
Right. They are already standing on the first place podium after the event has completely concluded.
Yeah. It fundamentally changes the posture of how a person faces adversity. You aren't fighting for victory. You are enforcing a victory that is legally already on the books.
Which is such a fascinating psychological shift. For you listening, regardless of your personal theological views, understanding this framework offers a really deep look at cognitive reframing.
It really does.
Millions of readers are taught to look at their daily struggles not as unpredictable, active wars where they might lose, but as exercises in maintaining a dominion they already possess.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought for you to ponder on your own.
Oh, definitely, because if this legal transfer is absolute, and the forces of darkness rely completely on a bluff.
Yeah, if they've lost all structural authority and have rely entirely on deception and manipulation, does that imply the ultimate spiritual battleground in this framework is actually just a battle for the mind?
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.